Hey guys, I want to talk to you about something a little unusual for this channel, but we'll talk about it anyways. And that is some business advice. 3 basic tips and strategies. I've, since I was in my early 20s, started my own studio at a very young age, and being in business for myself was something that was very seemingly almost natural for me. So, you know, my father was in business, my grandfather was in business, most of my uncles on my dad's side, there's 7 of them, most of them were in business. My one uncle on my mom's side he's retired now, but he was in business throughout his whole life. So growing up, it was very natural for me, and I always felt very fortunate that I sort of had that inclination because of my family experiences. So I really like the idea of being in a small business, you know, a small mom and pop studio, or whatever the business is. You know, when I see a family-run business, a small business, a hardware store, a bakery, or whatever, I think it's cool. And I've always said that being in business is one of the greatest self-help programs, because when you get into it, you are, the way I like to put it is, you are staring into the abyss. They're going to be throwing a lot of challenges, and you got to develop a certain amount of ruggedness and the ability to adapt. And it was something I didn't know going in. Noise coming on here. Tamarindo. It's funny the way they advertise some events. They go around with a truck with this big loudspeaker. It's very crude, it's like a sledgehammer style marketing. So anyways, been in business my whole life. I would not have it any other way. And I've always said that, again, it'll change you more than anything else. It'll change your politics, your philosophy, your outlook, and make you kind of resilient. It makes some people into real hardcore, rugged individualists, and, you know, whatever. As long as they're good people, living their life right, all that matters, really. So the other thing I want to say about that is I had a friend, I remember back about 30 plus years ago, and, you know, he told me once, he said, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and he was talking in reference to my business. But it turns out he was just bitter and angry and maybe sort of envious. So I didn't take what he said to heart, and I thought it was kind of, I don't know. I just thought it was a bit of a bummer. So, okay, I'm going to pause this for a minute so I can get through this noise. Maybe I'll show you 2 minutes worth. I'll get back to my conversation in a minute. It's just too loud right now. This is very aggressive marketing. They're selling something. I don't know what they're selling. I'm off to the beach. So I'm going to try something new. It's called a drum circle. There's this guy from France. Him and his wife live here. And he's a master drummer, and just kind of randomly met him last year, and I noticed he was advertising this drum circle. I've always wanted to do a drum circle. So it's the first time. So I'll let you know more about that later. Maybe I'll catch a little bit of video. So last time I was doing the last video, which was actually 2 days ago, I got distracted by all that noise. You know, the Costa Ricans love their music. You can go to a nice beach on a Sunday afternoon and they'll have speakers a-blaring. They'll also have trucks with big speakers on them going around promoting some event, some store. And that was pretty much what was going on, I believe. So when I went into town and I came back about an hour later, There wasn't that noise anymore insofar as it being music, but there was about a group of drummers. They were Costa Rican drummers, and they were just pounding away making this. It was actually kind of good, but it was loud. So talked to my wife later, and she said, yeah, they were selling tuna. That's what all that noise was about. So anyways, I want to talk to you about 3 tips for business. This is this is the main content of this particular video. So just kind of random, I know, but I want to share them with you. These are tips that I've gotten and picked up. There's probably a million tips, 100 tips, 50, whatever, but I want to pick out 3 that I find very interesting. So tip number 1, never chase a deal. I've noticed this in my own photography business. Whenever I've chased after, say, a prospective bride and groom, they want to book a wedding. If I push too hard and look like I'm too desperate, it never works out. So it's okay to sort of chase a deal in the sense that you're going to follow up properly. But if you're pushing too hard and you look too desperate, it's going to put you in a weak position. So a couple of random dogs, you see that? Dogs around here, they always look like they're smiling. so yeah, never chase a deal. Bad idea. Makes you look weak. Number 2, if the deal starts off on the wrong foot, it's usually a bad sign. It usually means it's not going to end well. So if you have an out, you probably want to get out before it's too late. And you can usually tell early enough before you're super committed to a deal whether or not it's going to start off on the wrong foot. And number 3, it's my favorite one. Trust your gut. I have an uncle who's now 80, retired, and he's had a long career and life of investments and real estate project management at a very high level. And he kept telling me over and over again, you know, you got to trust your gut, trust your gut, trust your gut. You hear it all the time. Little side story to that too. You know, my wife and I run real estate. We have some apartments. And I think it was last year or 2 years ago, I asked her, I said, I joined this landlord association in our city, and you hear all these horror stories, you know? So I was curious. I said, we were doing pretty good. We'd never have had many, if any, horror stories, really. We've had some interesting stories, but no horror stories. And I asked her, I said, how come we're so lucky? So we already do some things right, like we put out applications. If you want to rent an apartment, you got to give us 2 references, and Tina follows up on them both, always. But there's more to it than just that. So when I brought it up with her recently, I asked her what it was. She said, oh yeah, I just trust my gut. If I don't have a good feeling about them, they're not getting in. Bingo. So trust your gut. Your intuition, especially trust a woman's intuition. Let me give you another tip to do with this. There's a well-known strategy in the world of marketing. If you're going to do a deal with somebody and you're negotiating with them and it looks like something might happen, here's what you do. You, hello. People must think I'm weird just talking to my camera. Maybe not. So if it looks like you're going to do something with this particular person, ask to go out for supper, but bring your spouse along. And I don't know if it would work so much if it was a woman wanting to rely on her spouse, specifically her husband, maybe, probably. But I'm using this strategy specifically to rely on women's intuition. So here's what you do. You go out for supper, you bring your wife along. After you've had sort of a social night, later on, you ask your wife, what did you think about him? If she says, I don't have a good feeling, she's probably right. So yeah, trust your gut. Trust your wife's intuition. So Hello. More dogs. People walking dogs. Anyway, so yeah, those were my tips. That's it. Just looking at my notes. Okay, I'll try and get a little bit of video of the drum circle and possibly do a full video on the drum circle. See you later.
At the camp, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you say like camp?
Yeah, we're doing a summer camp.
Yeah.
And Sebastian came to the summer camp
Oh.
Yeah.
back in July.
Yeah, and Goya.
What's the whistle for?
Goya, really.
It's to lead.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. That sounds
That's
really well.
right.
Very well.
Just like in the movies.
Exactly.
Sounds like party time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a quiet sound. See? Now follow me. Keep playing. Back to your quiet sound. Just the lady. Gently, jabba, jabba, gently. Play with me. Jabba, jabba, gently. Jabba, jabba, gently. Jabba, jabba, gently. Jabba, jabba, gently. Jabba, jabba. So keep it going, that's your rhythm. Everybody.
End of the day. Check it out. Alright, so just had my first drum circle session with Matisse. He's a pretty good teacher, pretty good instructor. He's a master drummer, and he taught us African percussion. So it's really kind of cool. Never done that before. It's very hypnotic when you get into it, and everybody gets drumming together, and you get this beat going on. It's boom, 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 bow, bow, and it's almost therapeutic. So next Monday I'll be going back for more. All right, good night.